Hey, what's up, Sacramento? What's up to our friends in the Bay Area, to our friends in Southern California? Welcome to another exciting edition of the In Our Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Ruiz, but you can call me Adrian. Today, I have one of my newest friends that I'm showing off to the world. Her name is Dr. Tina Torres, and she is the director of the Sacramento K through 16 project at Sac State. Doctora, welcome to the show.
Gracias. Thank you for having me.
Are you kidding?
I'm humbled.
What do I want to tell you? Like in September, I was like, you're getting on the podcast. We were at camp.
Yes,
Yeah.
at the retreat. Yes.
So what happened was, we do this thing at Creciente where people share their stories, and after Tina, Dr. Torres, shared her story, I was like, oh, this is podcast worthy. Like we need to make this thing happen. And she just looked at me like, okay, because she probably hears that all the time, and no one call I get it. So before we get started, one of the things that we do here is we always talk about what we're listening to. So my son was here from LA over the weekend, and he's hooked on the Rosalia album.
Oh.
And what she did, Rosalia, wow, she's something else. She did like, in conjunction, I think, with the London Symphony, she did a song about, it's a very Catholic album, I would say. But I hope I'm explaining this right. Julian, help me out. But it's about female saints, right? It's got this really interesting story. And she just, wow. So at my house, Rosalia is like everywhere, right?
I'll have to listen to that.
I think you'd like it. I really do. What do you listen to these days?
Well, honestly, I love all kinds of genre of music. I mean, a little hip-hop, rap,
Nice.
old school, oldies.
Yeah.
And then I get into like my Nina Simone and Etta
Ooh.
James. Love me some Etta James. But lately, what's funny is I've never been a huge fan of Bad Bunny. But ever since that whole hype with him performing at the Super Bowl, I started listening to some Bad Bunny. I'm like, oh, okay. I can get into this.
Yeah. So was it 2 years ago? A bunch of us in Sacramento went to go see him when he was here.
Uh-huh.
His concerts, A+. He does not take any shortcuts.
Wow.
So he has to knock it out of the park for the Super Bowl because he's an amazing performer. So I'm like you. I wasn't a Bad Bunny fan, but I walk out of there and I'm like, put the tattoo right here. Like,
Yeah.
I really like him a lot. So you also mentioned hip hop.
Yep.
Oh, you like that old school?
Old school, lots of old school,
Yeah.
like Zapp and Roger, back. I'm going way back.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
And then oldies, I love my oldies, back in the day when people listened to all their oldies. And I remember we used to go cruising on the boulevard and you have all your oldies and your old school. And I still listen to that. And the reason why I listen to hip hop is my son. So my son was a huge hip hop, Tupac and Biggie, and that's how I ended up listening to them. It's like
so good.
Yeah, and I still listen to them once in a while. Yeah.
Right. If you look up, we have some Jizza from the Wu-Tang up there. We have some Kendrick up there.
Oh yes, Kendrick.
Kendrick's beautiful. Love Kendrick. So the thing that really, I was like, man, my eyes lit up when you closed out telling your story, and I think we could share it here.
Yeah.
You said, so my story truly is from Chola to Doctora.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole room was like, oh, wow. Right? And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about this journey from Chola to Doctora. Can you take us back a little bit? Take us back to like when you were listening to those oldies as a young person. Where are you from? And tell us a little bit about what youth was like for you.
So we moved to Southern California from El Paso. My mother was in a very bad domestic violence situation with my stepfather, and so my grandmother had moved from El Paso to Oxnard in Southern California.
Yeah.
And
Fernando Vargas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And La Colonia.
La Colonia.
That's where I grew up.
Oh.
So I ended up, so we moved to La Colonia. We came here, I was 10 years old. And so I pretty much grew up in La Colonia from the age until I was an adult and moved out.
Describe for us La Colonia back then.
It's not good. It was one of the worst barrios ever. It was like a lot of gang violence, lots and lots of gang violence. And, poverty, drugs. I lived just like 2 blocks away from the projects. They were really bad. So yeah, growing up where there is no, I hate to, back then, I think it's changed now, but back then when I was growing up, it was like no hope. You know, it was a very hopeless situation. I think people, predominantly, you know, Mexicans, people migrated to there. There was a lot of farm workers, you know, hardworking people, but with that comes gangs.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, like in the 1980s, I think, late 80s, 90s, they did a whole gang injunction against the gang from La Colonia. It was huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was really, really bad. I mean, people would not step into La Colonia. If you had no business there, you wouldn't go in there.
And you were right in it.
And I was living there.
So, about what age did you start identifying with the Chola culture? When did you start identifying yourself as a Chola?
You know, the funny thing is that I don't think I just assimilated to it, you know. It's not necessarily that I identify myself. As a matter of fact, that term was a very derogatory term. You
Really?
know? So, oh, definitely. When people would see me, or even like distant relatives, ay, es una cholía. You know? And so that was a bad thing. It wasn't a good thing.
Wow.
Right? And so assimilating to that, to the culture you live in, so that's where I live, so that's what I started to do, hanging around with the wrong, you know, the gangbangers, started, you know, wearing the clothes that they wore, the makeup, going to parties, drinking at an age, you know, 13, 14, smoking weed, you know, all that. As a matter of fact, you know, I was thinking about that, about being here, and I was remembering, that I removed my tattoos from my hands. Because I used to have those handmade tattoos on my hand. I had the 3 dots here.
Did you go to Father Boyle? Where'd you get it removed? Do you remember?
No, I actually paid after I got I paid to have them removed. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they used to embarrass me. Because they were here on my hands.
Yeah.
You know, and they looked like prison tattoos.
Yeah.
You know.
Single needle. Yep. What a trip.
Yeah.
So, from what age to what age is that just a big part of your life? Just that culture and just doing what, the good and the bad and the ugly that comes with it, right? How long was that?
It was only until I got pregnant when I was 16 and dropped out of high school. And I think it was at that time that I decided that I couldn't continue to live that lifestyle because I had a child now.
Wow.
And so I started to pull away from all of that and just, you know, I had dropped out of high school. You know, I was homeless for a year after that.
What a
with
trip.
my child.
Really?
Yeah, I was couch surfing with friends. Wow. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a high school diploma, I didn't have anything.
Wow.
Nothing. So I remember desperately trying to find housing for us, and so I applied for that Section 8 program, and I was on the waiting list, and I waited a whole year. That's why I was homeless for a year, like couch surfing here and there. And
pregnant or with the baby already?
I already had the baby. Wow.
Wow.
He was a year old. Finally, I got called in that they received that I was going to get this voucher. I was like, thank God. So got my little. And I just moved to another hood. I left from one to another, but I mean, at least I had a roof over my head with my child. Didn't have a car, didn't have anything. Nothing, just an empty apartment, but I was happy and grateful for that.
So how does this story of building yourself back up start? I guess it starts with getting housing. Right? And then what was the next step from there?
Getting a job. I always knew, you know, the funny thing is that I always knew that I didn't want to be like my mother. I did not want to raise my son like my mother raised us. My mother was a single parent, but we were raised on welfare, food stamps, you know, government cheese.
The bricks.
Yeah.
The bricks,
and my mom, you know, she really didn't have an ambition to work. And then she became an alcoholic, so it was not a very stable home at all. And so for me, that's not what I wanted for my son. I always knew that I wanted something, I just didn't know how to get there. So I remember just I took a little like a certification program for data entry because that was a big thing back then. And I got my little data entry certificate, and I got my little $425 an hour job. But
you had a job.
I had a job.
Yep.
And I always promised myself and my son, even though he didn't understand, that I was not going to raise him on welfare. I was not. You know, and and then of course, when my son was 4 years old, I met this wonderful man.
That guy. He is a wonderful man. That's for sure.
He is a wonderful man, and you know, it changed my life for the better.
Wow.
You know, we've struggled, and not that, you know, but his support has been, you know, was so essential for me to pursue anything.
How long have y'all been together again?
36 years.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. What an encouragement.
Yeah.
My wife and I have about 25.
There you go.
Yeah. So, you know.
If you made it to 25.
I ain't going nowhere.
I know, me neither. That's what we say to each other. Well, you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
And we talk so much shit to each other. It's not even funny. But we love each other. We're, you know, we're in it to win it.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. 36 years. So in that, right, at the beginning of the relationship, when did you start thinking about going back to school to get your high school diploma and all those things?
Actually, the funny thing is that once we got married and then we had another child together, and I thought this is as good as it's going to get. And I was content.
Yeah.
We were living paycheck to paycheck. We were struggling. We had a little used car, whatever, but we were, you know, I had food. My kids were stable.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, this is it.
Right.
This is as good as it's going to get. You know, I'm happy, you know? And then one day, I do want to say something really quick, only because I remember something right now. So when I was growing up and I was in high school, I was the kid that the parents told their kids they couldn't hang out with.
Woo!
Yeah. And I'll never forget that one day, one of my friend's parents said, "Oh, Tina, the only thing Tina's going to be good for is to have a bunch of kids and be on welfare." Yeah.
That hurt.
It hurt, and I was so determined not to make sure that I didn't make that a reality, right? So that's why when I got married and we had another child, I was happy. I thought, and I wasn't on welfare. I thought, you know what, this is great.
Yeah.
I've accomplished all this, right?
Right.
But I didn't, and I just didn't know that I had it accomplished, and that there was more that I could have done. Until one day, my cousin, I always say she's the one that led me to this path, because she said, "Cousin, when you come with me, they're having this information session on this new program through the community college. It's called PACE." And at that time, it was when Cal State Channel Islands had just turned into the newest university for the Cal State system.
Got it.
And so they had partnered with the community college to try to create these transfer pathways.
Got it.
And so the PACE program at the Oxnard College was geared for working adults, and it was an accelerated program.
Got it.
So I had no interest in it, but I went with her, and I'm like, I can go to college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never knew that was a possibility.
And
And I said, where do I sign up? Of course, I went home and I talked to my husband, and he says, it's funny now because we talk about it. He goes, when you first said you wanted to go to school, he figured, in about 2 months she'll quit. It's not. And no, I didn't. Never quit. Just kept going.
2 months turned into 20 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So for you, like, what was it about that experience at that point in your life? So how old are you now when this is happening?
58.
No, not right.
At that time.
At that time, like when you
30 years old.
You're 30 years old when you enter the junior college system. This is why I find this story so beautiful and so fascinating, because, like, for those of you listening or watching, that whole thing that it's too late is a bunch of BS. It's never too late to do whatever you want to do, whether it's go to school, open a business, whatever. And you know what Dr. Torres talks about right here at this point in time, I just really want you to listen to. So tell us about, if you can, tell us about that first year or so going to junior college, having a baby, being a wife, having a job. How are you managing? How are you getting through all this?
A lot of sleepless nights. But I'll tell you one thing that I really, really struggled with is I was already at a disadvantage. Okay? Think about it. I grew up with parents and a family who was not educated. I grew up in a school system where nobody took any interest in me academically. I never had anybody say, hey, you have potential. So I kind of was a very quiet child, believe it or not, because I was, a whole other story. I was born with partial cleft palate, so I couldn't speak very well, so I had speech therapy all the way through all my K-12.
Wow.
And so that's why I was always very quiet. I didn't want to bring any attention. So I really flew under the radar. So nobody ever took notice of me, teachers, no one. Like for bad or for good, right? And so so academically, I can't say I was smart. I wasn't. I was an average student. And so when I got to college, the very first, I had to not only learn to be a college student, but think about it, I had to learn to understand the content I was reading.
Yeah.
I would look up the words with the dictionary, and then I had a thesaurus to help me, because even the definition of that word, I couldn't even understand what that meant.
Got it.
So if it took you couple hours to read a book, it took me longer because I had to understand the content, the material that I was reading. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the theories. I didn't understand any of it. So
where did that ganas come from? Like that's you're putting in extra time right here. Like where did that come from? That's where people quit right there. People
yes.
And what made you be like, I'm going?
I think that if my husband had not been so supportive and took that stress away from me, like the kids, like I'd come home because the classes were in the evening. So I would go 2 days a week. So I would leave work, go straight to class, and wouldn't be home till like 10:30. So there'd be days I didn't see the kids at all. And he took care of them. I mean, he would go to work. We both worked, and he would get home and he'd do the duties, the parenting. By the time I came home, the kids were asleep. But I think taking that pressure off of me really is what made me continue to pursue that. Because I think if I had been a single parent, I don't know if I would have been able to without that support.
Yeah.
So I credit a lot of that to his support. Had it not been for that, I don't think I could have done it. Because also on the weekends, like when I would study, he'd tell me, don't worry about it. He'd close the door and let me study.
You are a good dude, my friend. So right over this camera right here, he's like hanging out. He has this big old smile watching his wife do what she does so well, right? So just thank you for that. I love that. Thank you. So tell us about this AA. You start figuring out like, whoa, I'm about to graduate with an AA. Tell us about that point in time.
Honestly, I thought that was all I was going to do. So I had gone back and gotten my GED, took the exam so that I can get in, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to get this AA. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
And everybody kept talking, so you're going to transfer? No, I don't know. Like I just wanted to take one step at a time, right? So I got my AA. Okay, great. And then, are you going to apply? They encouraged, okay, I'll apply, and I did, and I got into Channel Islands, and I said, okay, I can do this, and I was working. There was one semester I actually took the 15 units while working full time.
Wow. That must have been
hell.
Mm-hmm.
And when I transferred and I started taking courses at Channel Islands, it was very different environment in that this program was not tailored for adults like the PACE program was. It was not tailored for working adults at all, just like most universities are not.
Right.
Even now, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's very tailored to transfer students, young adults, or freshmen right out of high school, right?
Yep.
And so I remember I failed a couple of classes. I started to get really discouraged and feeling that I didn't belong there, that I wasn't gonna make it. Like the AA was it. I struggled. Struggled. It took me 8 years to get a bachelor's degree.
Wow. there again, though, like that, you know, the research says grit, resilience, whatever you want to call it. We call it ganas, right?
Right.
Like, what made you just slowly but surely say, like, okay, I just took it on the chin, I just failed, but I'm not going to quit? Because that's another point in time where it was just been like, I'm good, I'm out. And you didn't. You found a way to go back in.
Somehow I felt like, you know what, I've gotten this far. Why would I not? You know, I kept telling myself, why would I not? You know, I'm already here. I'm here. I did this much already. I might as well just finish. I'll just finish this semester. I would say that every semester. I'll just finish this semester and see what happens. And then by then I'd feel good and I'd be like, okay, I'll enroll again.
Yeah.
You know, and it went like that, and the years went by, and before you know it, you know, I'm done. I'm like,
Done.
I'm done. And then right as soon as I was done, I applied to the master's program at Cal State Northridge. Because by then I understood what an education could do for you. By then I understood that this was going to open doors for me. I understood that this is what was really would open, take you out of poverty, take you out, it's life changing.
Yeah.
And I learned that, and I realized that, and when I realized that, I knew that I had to continue. So I went to get my master's, because I always wanted to be an administrator. I always wanted to be the boss.
There it is. Now we know why you were in school.
I'm bossy. I always wanted to be the boss. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. I remember when I met my husband. I was working in this medical supply company and manufacturing. So I did manufacturing work. It was tedious, horrible, boring work. The whole time your back would ache because you'd be sitting there, you know, putting little. It was like anybody could do it. You didn't even need to have brain cells to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I would work, I would say, I hate this damn job. I hate it. There has to be something better. I want to be a secretary. I don't know why I thought that was like,
right.
Wow, if I get in an office, woo-hoo, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, by the time that I got my bachelor's, I said, I want to be an administrator. I want to be the person that can make change and make things happen.
Yeah.
So that's why I went on to get a master's degree in educational administration from CISA.
What made you decide to go the education route? Like at that point, you could do so many things, right?
It's
what
funny
made you do that?
Yeah, because I was in education. So when I started Channel Islands, I actually applied for a job there at Channel Islands.
Got it.
And I got the job. So I worked for Channel Islands at Cal State Channel Islands for 10 years.
Wow. So you're building you're building your education, but you're also building your career simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Super smart. Mm-hmm. Was that by design or by accident?
By accident. And then by design.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then this point in time where like, man, hello, you got your master's, that you decide, man, I'm just going to see this thing all the way through. Like, what does this jump from a master's to a doctorate look like for you?
You know, I wasn't going to do it. The master's, I never envisioned myself getting a doctorate degree. Because even after all those accomplishments, I still had that self-doubt.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Why? Like, it's just like you've done so much.
I know, I don't know. I kept thinking, I cannot do a doctorate program. I'm not smart enough. You know? And I had a friend, a colleague, we worked for the same college at that time I was working at Cal State Northridge. And I was an administrator there. And I had she's now my best friend, one of my best friends, and she goes, let's do it, Tina, let's do it together. Through Cal State Northridge, they had the program, the doctorate program.
Got it.
And she's the one that told me, come on, we can do it, let's do it together. And I said, oh. So I said, okay. But guess what happened? I did all the coursework, and it took me 2 extra years to actually do the dissertation because I was so discouraged and so doubting myself that I thought I had made a huge mistake in doing that. And I felt shame and embarrassed that I had done all the coursework, but I couldn't get the dissertation done. I didn't even get to do the ceremony. Because by the time it was at the end, if you hadn't already had most of your dissertation done, you couldn't walk.
Got it.
Commencement. So
Got
I
it.
didn't get to celebrate that. No. And so that was one more thing that
Right.
discouraged me. Right? That
So
I'm not good enough.
What drives me, like, what I keep asking myself is, like, again, just another opportunity to say, like, I'm
I
good.
almost did.
And what made you just say?
Because people kept saying, my husband kept saying, you can do it, it's chingona, and I'm like, I'm not.
But you are.
But he had, I had to believe that,
Yeah.
and he kept telling me, it's chingona, you can do it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and
right there.
it took me a whole year after I did all the coursework to finally find a good dissertation chair. She became a really good mentor to me and really encouraged me, and she made me do it. She's like, you're gonna do it, and this is what we're gonna do. You know this stuff. You don't, I was just doubting myself so much, and I think that not being able to participate in commencement, it was so discouraging to me that just really was one more like
Yeah.
strike against me, like, she's not good enough. And that was really, really, really hard.
Wow.
Really hard for me.
So you see it through, and tell me about that moment where you're looking at, like, accomplished, and what was going through your mind, what was going through your heart in that moment.
So let me take a little step back, because I want to tell you how that whole chola to doctora came about.
Please.
So when my kids were growing up, especially my son, when he was a teenager, it was like, "Ay, Mom, don't lie. You were a chola." And I was in such denial. Like, that was a part of my life that that's why I removed the tattoos. I didn't want anyone to know that part of my life. I wanted to be a professional. I didn't want that to ever, I didn't want people to view me as that, right? And my son, it was this big thing with him. He used to make fun of me about it all the time.
Really?
And one day he goes to school, he was in high school at the time, and some guy came that I guess he had a local newspaper, and I remember it used to be called La Gente. And my son saw a picture of me in there, a black and white, and I'm all cholad out with my homegirls.
Wow.
He got a copy of that picture, came home, "Oh, Mom, I'm going to prove to you, you were a chola, now I have proof." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He brings out this picture. And then he says to me, he goes, "You see, you were a chola." And I think he saw the look in my face, like, I go, I'm denying it. That wasn't me. But he said something really important. He goes, "Mom," he goes, why are you denying that? You should be proud of yourself. You should be proud that that's who you were, and look at how far you've come."
Yes.
And
Yes.
at that time I was still working on my bachelor's degree. Wow. And then, so that was the first start. And then when I started working at Cal State Northridge, before I started the doctoral program, a girl recognized me from high school. "Oh, I remember you. You were a cholia. You were a chola. A dropout." I'm like, "Gee, thanks."
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody else heard. And of course, and then I had told my friend, the one that I went to the doctoral program, she goes, "You know what, you should just after I started going through the doctoral program, she goes, from chola to doctora." And that's how that came about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I can work with that.
Like, no shame in your game.
Not anymore.
No.
It was years of shame.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, help me out, because, like, there's so many youngsters in our community that are living your story, but they're just in the early chapters. And how do they conquer the beast of shame, the realities of poverty, those young people that might even be gang affiliated, second, third, fourth generation? Like, what would you share with them in order that, if this is something you want, what words of encouragement, what advice do you have for them? Because let's not kid ourselves, you all. Like, this sounds really nice, sounds really cute, but my God, there's a lot of hard work that goes with this. A lot of hard work. Like, so like, what advice, what words of encouragement would you have to someone who's in the early stages of your life?
You know, honestly, I wish that I had. If I look back and when I was in high school and going through that, I wish I had someone see some potential in me and say to me, you know what, you're smart. You know, there's resources, there's help. Somebody just to guide me to where the resources. I didn't have that, right? And I always tell people that sometimes when people set the bar for you, my bar was set
super low.
Super low. And when your bar is set that low, it's almost like it becomes like you're gonna fulfill the prophecy of being that statistic, right? High school dropout, gang member, drug addict, whatever you want to say, pregnant, teen mom, whatever, all those things, right? That's what, when they see you and that's what they label you in, then you almost like, sometimes it's our human nature, I think, and especially if we don't have good support or any self-confidence, then you kind of fulfill that prophecy, right? That's who you're going to be. But I tell people all the time, and I've spoken at high schools before, and I always say, you don't have to, if somebody has set that bar for you like that low, you don't have to fulfill that bar. You can raise that bar and aim higher, because only you have to want it. And believe me, if you want it and you ask for help, there's people out there that are going to help you. I didn't ask for help. And I never raised that bar for myself. Yeah. I always kept it low. Yeah. And I think that's why I felt, I wasn't fulfilled, but I felt like, what's the word? I settled. You settled. I was settling. Yeah. And now I would say, don't settle.
Yeah. Did that become a driver for you? The feeling of like, I'm not ready to settle?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
And I think I always wanted to be a homeowner. I always wanted to, have a career. I always wanted to be that example for my kids, and by doing all of these things, I was able to get there. I knew, like I said, I learned when I started going to college and started getting degrees that was going to take me places. Yeah. That was my ticket to buy a house, to have a career, to provide for my kids a better life than they had. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It really is. Like, think about it. Education, check. Right, the things that you've set out to do, great marriage, check. Homeowner, check. Mentor to others, check. Right. What, if anything, are you like? I'm looking at that mountain now, and I'm thinking about that mountain. Are you done? Are you ready to settle, or is there something you're looking for towards next?
I'm not ready to settle.
Ooh! Are you willing to share with us what you're thinking
yes,
about?
I'll tell you. I thought I was ready to settle. So after having a career in teacher prep programs, that was my career for 25 years. Yeah. When I was at Cal State Northridge, I knew that this last part of my career that I wanted to do something that was impactful. I just didn't know what or how, right? And so when this job came up here in Sacramento, I applied for it. And again, the encouragement of my partner in crime who said, I'll follow you.
That's so beautiful.
Because he was getting ready to retire. And I said, if I take a job, so he goes, we'll even go to another state, wherever you want to go. He's my cheerleader, right? Wow. So I said, okay, and then I remember that I applied for this job, and I felt so discouraged. I didn't hear back for like 4 months. And I said, I didn't get it. I was discouraged. And he goes, they're going to call you. You got it. You got it. He's always so optimistic, right? And sure enough, they called me. And I said, so yeah, we got up, left everything. I mean, my kids are grown. They have their own families. And we came here, just me and him. to Sacramento, and now the work that I'm doing, and I'm doing work. So part of my job is to create partnerships and create like cradle to career pathways, right? Like from K-12 to the community college to the four-year university. We're doing career pathways to engineering, healthcare, partnering with Sierra College, Los Rios Community College. And then a big part of that as well is adult learners. Like I'm in that space right now, in the adult learner space. And how do we create campuses that are ready for adult learners? Again, lived experience, and knowing that we're not a campus. Most universities are not a campus for an adult learner.
Right.
Imagine a 40-year-old walking in, and you're giving them the same experience as an 18-year-old.
Right.
Two different worlds.
Two different.
There's two different needs that they need that require that is not required of a high school student. That wouldn't be required of a high school student.
So true.
So when you asked me that, I just met with, do you know Jason Sample from, okay, so I met with him this morning. We had coffee. And so he's invited me to sit on their board for Gateway Community Charter, their foundation board.
Good call, Jason. Good call. Right on.
And we had such a lively conversation, and the things that he's doing in the community, and how he went back to his community. And we started sharing about how these things we want to do with adult learners and stuff, because we talked about how you can try to impact the children, but if you're not impacting the parents, they're going to go back to that home. And I shared with him, I'll share this story that I shared with him. Early on when I started going to college, my degree is in psychology, and I wanted to be a probation officer. Okay, so part of a class that I was taking required that I do some hours, and so I did at a juvenile hall facility. And I would meet with kids and do intake for programs and things like that. And what I realized, which was very disheartening to me, and that's why I changed career pathways, is because what I realized is that the students would be so excited at the juvenile hall. They were sponges. They were eager to learn, to learn all these new things, read, to do math. It's like nobody was going to make fun of them if they did their homework, right? They got all this positive feedback, and they fed off of that. But guess what? As soon as they left and they went back to their environment, 6 months later, that kid would be back.
It
was this vicious cycle for them.
Yeah.
And that's what me and Jason were talking about this morning. Like, how do we change the parents? How do we make the parents' life impactful? I mean, we make that change with the parents. So then they're there for their children. So then we're not only helping the children, but we're helping the parents. So we talked about certificate programs and going and, offering programs, apprenticeships with different workforce company. SMUD is a big one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If they say, hey, if you get a certificate, you just have to take 2 classes, be certified in this, you can have a good paying job. And so now when the kid comes home, maybe they don't come home to an empty home. Maybe they don't come home where the parents are struggling financially. They have all these turmoil going on in their family life.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could take some of that away, then they can focus on the child.
It's almost like everything that you've been through in life is prepared you to make this thing happen and do it in a wonderful way. Like no one could be better at this than you. Like you're ready for this. This is you. This is your time. I'm curious, when you think about your life, is there anything, if you could do it all over again? No, let me change that. If you could do any part of it over again, would you, and why?
If I could do any part, I think I would have started a lot. If I could start over, if I knew then what I know now, right? You always say, I think I would have asked for help. And even when I was going to the community college I never asked for help. I struggled a lot. And it's that, I don't know if it's pride or it's just in our DNA, I don't ask for help. Even now, I have a hard time, I'm limping around and my husband keeps telling me, just ask me for help, and I just want to do it by myself. I fall, and then he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me?
Oh
But
my goodness.
the thing is that I have a hard time asking for help. So
Mm.
I think what I would have done differently is really asked for help and taken advantage of a lot of resources and done it sooner. I don't know why I waited so long.
Wow.
You know, and you're right about one thing. This is what I tell people all the time when they say, "Oh, it's too late for me. I'm too old." You know what? It's never too late, because I'm going to tell you something. This is the way I see it. In 5 years, if you're saying right now it's too late for you, and if I see you in 5 years, and you still haven't gone back, imagine if you had gone back. 5 years is still going to come and go, but you could say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I did start.
That's right.
I'm here now, 5 years later."
That's right.
Rather than, "Oh, I still think I'm too old."
Time's a funny thing. It is so true. So, I have to ask you about Creciente really fast.
Yes.
Like, why would someone with so many accomplishments, so many victories in her life, decide to go through Creciente? And is it worth your time? Because, like, my God, like, you're a busy person. You have a lot going on, and this is a 7-month journey that you're on with Creciente. Like, how is that matching up for you?
Well, funny you say that, because I had a friend ask me this weekend why. She says, "I feel like you're with all these young people. Like, do you really need mentoring? Do you really need?" And I said, "No." I said, "But," I said, "I'm going to tell you why I did it. I did it for the networking, the partnerships, the community." I said, because, like I said, my plan was to leave here. I was going to do this job and in 5 years and leave, go back, retire, and go back to Southern California. I have found my community.
Yeah.
I have found my passion here. That I even
Very
told my
nice.
kids, I said, "We may not come back." And my husband said, "Let's just stay." And so I thought I was going to retire. I don't think so.
Score one for Sacramento. Score one for Sacramento. Right on.
Yeah, I have found my community, and I think one of the things that has brought me a lot of joy with Creciente is that finding community, finding people that look like me in, leadership positions, and we're talking about presidents of colleges, and I ran in this morning to Eric. Vice Mayor's that's
Yeah.
Eric. I ran into him this morning when me and Jason were having,
Right.
knowing those types of people
Right.
that I never ever. I lived in Ventura County all my life, and I never knew anybody like that looked like me and were in position. They were not very approachable, or I didn't think they were.
Right.
And here I am, surrounded by Latinos.
Super cool, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I love it. And I'm one of the type of people that there's always something to learn. So I learn something new every day.
Right.
So Creciente has taught me so much already. I'm walking away from Creciente feeling like I've grown as a person. I've grown, even bits of, taking away some of the leadership skills. It's never enough not to kind of sharpen your skills, right?
Right.
So for me, that's what this is.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
love it.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I think that the greatest superpower, and I say this all the time, the greatest superpower of Creciente is community.
It
The
is.
family we've built. And it's never going to replace your real family, but there is a sense of like we are there for each other. It's really neat to see that. I have to ask you this. This career, this journey has been so wonderful to you. When you think about your life right now, what are the 2 to 3 things that you're most grateful for?
I'm going to say my health. Health, even though my leg is healing after breaking it, it just kind of reminded me of how health is so important, because without it, we're nothing.
Yeah.
Without health, we can't go to work. Without health, we can't enjoy our family. Without health, so I'm going to say I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful always for my husband, who's my cheerleader, my supporter, my driver right now, my personal assistant, my partner in crime.
Yeah.
It's like having that support is allows me to do the work that I do, and allows me to do it without ever feeling, even when the kids were little, not feeling guilty that you're away from home, because he was there. He stepped in as the parent. And now sometimes I feel bad that he's alone now at the house and I'm over here, and he goes, don't worry about it. You need to take 3 days and go somewhere, part of your career, do it. Don't worry about me. I'm okay.
Wow.
But now he just goes everywhere with me.
That's so cool. Hey, whenever there's a Creciente event, you're invited. You're fan. Come on down, bro. Like, for real. That's so cool. It's so cool. I feel like we need to do a part 2 to this because there's just so much there to cover. Sacramento, thank you for being you. Thank you for just having a place where someone from Southern California can come up here and say, I can breathe here. I want to belong here. I want to be a part of this. I want to contribute my strengths to this. And Dr. Tina, I am so happy to have met you. I'm so happy that you decided to go through Creciente. I am so happy that you are sharing your gifts with us in Sacramento. Like, thank you. It sounds so shallow, but it's really deep.
Honestly, I would say thank you for recognizing that there was a story there and allowing me to tell the story. That storytelling is so important. We all walk around not knowing people have a story, and I love storytelling. I love to hear people tell their stories, right? And I'm humbled. Thank you. I'm humbled and grateful for the opportunity to be part of Creciente, grateful for finding my community. And I'm telling you, I may never leave Sacramento.
I love it. I hope you don't. For real.
I'll be here. I'll be around for a while.
Right on. Hey, I really hope you all enjoyed listening or watching the story of an amazing, I was going to use a weird term, but I'm going to use it, but I want you to know where I'm coming from. This, like, someone who's conquered so much, but you could tell it's not about her. She's reaching back into the community and say, let me help you up too. And that's what we need more of. People to make it to the mountaintop and look back and say, there's space up here for you as well. And that's what we heard today. But I also want you to understand that a gem that I want you to take away from this conversation is what she said about along the way, there's these micro failures, and they're there to test you to see how bad you want it. And it's not an opportunity to stop, but it is an opportunity to reflect, recharge, and keep going, because there's such a gift at the end of it. And Dr. Tina showed us that today. Please do us a favor, hit like, hit follow, whatever you have on how you watch this podcast. And a special shout out to the Ring Studios for letting us host our podcast here. We'll see you next time for another exciting edition of the In Our Tribe podcast. Peace, blessings, stay strong, stay safe.
Thank you.